Ever felt like your mind is constantly running a race, but you can never quite catch up? 1,000 thoughts, worries, and anxieties flooding your mind at once, leaving you exhausted before the day even begins. It's as if your mind has a life of its own, hopping from one concern to the next, never allowing you a moment of peace. It's overwhelming, isn't it? We've all been there. The constant noise inside your head, keeping you from focusing, from being present, from truly living in the moment. You wake up with a list of things to do, yet the first thought that creeps in is about something that happened weeks ago, or a fear about something that might never even come to pass. Your heart races, your body tenses, and no matter how hard you try to focus, the distractions are relentless, the pressure builds, and all you want is a little relief from the chaos that is your mind. But how do you find peace in such turmoil? This is where most people get stuck, trapped in a cycle of never-ending stress and mental clutter. And honestly, it feels like you're powerless, right? Like you're at the mercy of your thoughts, overwhelmed by your emotions. It's as if your mind is working against you. But what if I told you there's a way to change all of this? What if there's a way to not only gain control over your mind but to transform it into your greatest ally? The solution lies in a time-tested philosophy, Stoicism. Now, you might be wondering, what can ancient wisdom do for my modern-day problems? Well, the answer is quite a lot. Stoic philosophy offers a powerful tool to calm that restless mind of yours, to regain control and find true peace. It teaches you how to manage your thoughts, emotions, and distractions, not by pushing them away, but by accepting them, understanding them, and learning to navigate through them with clarity and composure. I know what you're thinking. It sounds simple, maybe even too simple, but trust me, the power of Stoicism isn't just in the theory. It's in how you apply it. It's about shifting your perspective, not in a way that suppresses your feelings, but in a way that allows you to rise above them. Think about it. If you could learn to master your mind, if you could silence the chaos that often seems so loud and overwhelming, how different would your life be? This isn't some new age, fleeting trend. Stoicism has been practiced by some of the most resilient and influential figures in history. From emperors to warriors, all of whom used these teachings to stay grounded and focused, no matter the storms around them. The great thing about Stoicism is that it doesn't require you to change who you are or what's going on around you. Instead, it teaches you to change how you respond, how you control your internal state, and how you perceive the world. Imagine, just for a moment, a life where you can breathe deeply, where you can face challenges with confidence, where you can stay calm amidst the chaos. What would that feel like? This isn't some far-fetched fantasy. It's a reality that Stoicism can help you create. And it all starts with one simple shift: learning how to control your mind. True peace isn't found in the absence of chaos around us. It's not about hoping for a life without traffic, without difficult people, or without challenges that feel impossible to overcome. Let's be honest with ourselves for a moment. Life doesn't work like that. If you wait for everything to align perfectly before you find peace, you'll be waiting forever. Traffic will always be there. People will always test your patience. And challenges, they never seem to stop coming. But here's the thing. None of that matters when you learn to control the one thing you truly have power over, your own mind. Think about it. Every time you're stuck in traffic, frustrated with a situation, or dealing with someone who pushes your buttons, what is actually making you feel miserable? It's not the external events, it's the way you react to them. It's how you let your mind spiral into frustration, anxiety, and stress. We often forget this simple truth. We can't always control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond to it. That's where the true power lies. Imagine for a second that the next time someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of your mind racing with anger and frustration, you take a deep breath and remain calm. Imagine you stop to acknowledge that the situation is out of your control, but how you react is entirely within your grasp. In that moment, you've just taken the first step toward mastering your mind and finding peace. It's not easy, and it takes practice, but this is the essence of Stoicism. It's not about denying your feelings. It's about recognizing that they don't have to dictate your actions. You don't have to let them control you. What's even more powerful is when you start applying this mindset to everything in your life. Whether it's a stressful work deadline, a disagreement with a loved one, or even a global crisis, you realize that your peace doesn't need to depend on the world around you. It comes from within. It comes from deciding that no matter what happens, you will stay grounded. You will choose to remain calm, centered, and focused, because that's the one thing you can always control. You'll stop letting your circumstances dictate how you feel. You'll start to feel like you have the power to face anything, because your peace no longer depends on external conditions. It depends on how you choose to manage your inner world. I can tell you from experience, this shift is life-changing. It's freeing. For too long, I let the world around me dictate my state of mind. But once I started learning to control my reactions, to not let the chaos outside disturb the calm I could create within, everything changed. It was like I was no longer a victim of circumstance, but the master of my own peace. It's liberating to realize that peace is something you carry with you. No matter where you are or what's happening, it's a choice, and it's one you get to make every single day. So, when the world around you feels like it's falling apart, remember, the key to your peace lies within. You can't control the traffic, the people, or the events around you, but you can control how you respond, and that is the foundation of true, unshakable peace. Gaspar was once regarded as one of the brightest surgeons of his generation. He had the talent, the knowledge, and the hands of a master. But despite all his accomplishments, there was a storm brewing inside him. The pressure was unbearable. Every decision, every movement in the operating room felt like a life or death matter, not just for his patients, but for his own peace of mind. Gaspar found himself constantly replaying every surgery, every decision he made, over and over in his mind, The fear of mistakes haunted him relentlessly, always threatening to sabotage his confidence and his ability to perform under pressure. It didn't matter how many successful surgeries he'd completed, the anxiety still clung to him like a shadow. He was consumed by what he couldn't control, the outcome of every decision. The lives in his hands, the weight of each life-altering choice, and it was eating him alive. It wasn't until he met Dr. Estrada, a legendary surgeon known for his calm and composed demeanor even in the most chaotic situations, that Gaspar began to realize just how much he was letting his mind control him. Dr. Estrada's reputation was built not only on his surgical skills but also on his mental discipline. In the operating room, he was always in control, never flinching, never hesitating. It was as if he had mastered the art of being perfectly present, even under the most intense pressure. And Gaspar, desperate for a way out of his mental prison, sought Dr. Estrada's guidance. When they first met, Gaspar couldn't help but express his frustrations. "I can't stop replaying the surgeries in my head," he admitted, the weight of his anxiety clear in his voice. "Every mistake, every wrong decision, it haunts me. I'm terrified of what might go wrong." Dr. Estrada listened quietly, his gaze steady and calm. After a long pause, he spoke the words that would change everything for Gaspar. "You can't control life, but you can control how you respond." At first, Gaspar didn't quite understand. How could he control his response when so much was out of his hands? The outcomes, the complications, the unexpected twists in every surgery. How could anyone control that? But Dr. Estrada explained that it wasn't about controlling the external world. It was about controlling the internal one. It was about mastering the mind, silencing the constant noise of worry, and focusing only on what was within your grasp. You cannot predict the future, Dr. Estrada continued, but you can control how you react to whatever comes your way. The key is silence, the kind that quiets the storm of your own thoughts. The advice seemed simple, but Gaspar realized it was revolutionary. Over the next few weeks, he began practicing Dr. Estrada's techniques. He learned to breathe deeply before every surgery, to silence the frantic thoughts that tried to overwhelm him. Each time his mind started to spiral into fear and doubt, he reminded himself to focus on the present moment. In the operating room, his hands became steady, his mind clearer. He stopped trying to control every outcome and instead focused on what he could control: his decisions, his actions, and his state of mind. For the first time in years, Gaspar felt a sense of calm in his work. The fear, the constant replaying of decisions, none of it had disappeared completely. But he had learned to manage it. He understood that the true mastery wasn't in controlling the uncontrollable, but in controlling how he responded to it. And that shift in mindset was the key to his peace. In the end, Gaspar realized that the pressure he had been feeling all along wasn't the pressure of his job. It was the pressure he had been putting on himself. And now, thanks to Dr. Estrada, he had learned the most important lesson of all. The only thing that truly mattered was how he chose to respond to the chaos. And that was something he could control. Stoicism has taught me one of the most liberating lessons of my life. We cannot control the external world, but we can control how we respond to it. Life constantly throws things at us, unexpected events, people who irritate us, circumstances that test our patience. We can't stop the storm from coming, but we can control whether we're swept away by it or whether we weather it with composure. The key lies in focusing on what we can control, and that's where the power truly lies. It's not the world around us, but our reactions to it, that define our peace. Think about it. When was the last time you spent hours worrying about something completely out of your control? Maybe it was a work crisis that wasn't your fault, a friend's behavior that irritated you, or a traffic jam that ruined your day. In those moments, what were you actually controlling? Were you influencing the outcome of any of these situations? No. Instead, what you were controlling was your own emotional response. And in that process, how much of your energy were you giving away? How much of your peace did you hand over to something or someone else? The truth is, when we spend our time and energy worrying about things we can't control, we're giving away our power. We're surrendering our peace, our joy, our focus, and once it's gone, it's hard to get back. That's why the Stoic philosophy emphasizes the importance of controlling the things we can control: our preparation, our attitude, and our concentration. These are the only things truly within our reach, and by focusing on them, we take back our power. Preparation is a key pillar. When we prepare for challenges ahead, we shift our mindset from one of helplessness to one of readiness. We aren't waiting for the world to change for us. We're adapting and equipping ourselves to handle whatever comes our way. It's about taking action where we can, and trusting that preparation will give us the tools to face uncertainty with confidence. Attitude follows closely behind. Our attitude shapes how we perceive the world and how we interact with it. A positive, resilient attitude means we can look at obstacles as opportunities for growth rather than insurmountable barriers. If we can change our perspective, the weight of the world becomes much lighter. Lastly, concentration. This is about staying focused on what matters, blocking out distractions that steal our energy, and maintaining clarity of mind. When we focus on what we can do, rather than what we can't, we direct our energy toward meaningful actions. We stop obsessing over things beyond our control and start investing our time in things that make a difference. So here's the question: how much of your worry is about things you can't control? And how much peace are you giving away in the process? If you're like most of us, a lot of your mental and emotional energy is spent on situations that don't actually require your attention. We allow external factors to dominate our minds, and in doing so, we rob ourselves of the very thing we crave most: peace. But if we shift our focus to what we can control, our preparation, our attitude, and our concentration, we reclaim that peace, and it's a peace that no external circumstance can take away. It's ours to keep, And it all starts with recognizing that we are the ones in charge of our response to the world around us. Our minds are powerful forces, but they're also chaotic and often misleading. How many times have you found yourself magnifying small issues, turning them into monumental problems that consume your thoughts? The mind has this uncanny ability to take a minor inconvenience and turn it into a full-blown catastrophe. A slight disagreement with a friend, a minor mistake at work, or even just a little uncertainty about the future can spiral into a whirlwind of worry and stress. And once that chaos takes root, it's hard to stop, but the truth is, most of the time, these issues are not nearly as big as our minds make them out to be. This is where Stoicism offers us a powerful lesson. The Stoics teach that we should focus on what we can control, and that includes not only our actions but our responses to external events. If you can learn to stop letting external circumstances disturb your peace, you take back control. Life will always throw challenges your way. People will disappoint you. Things won't always go as planned. But the Stoics believed that your peace doesn't have to depend on those external factors. The more you focus on controlling your mind and your reaction to what's happening around you, the more you can maintain a sense of calm amidst the storm. Here's where many of us fall into a trap. We chase what we think will bring us peace. Society often convinces us that external achievements, money, validation, recognition, are the keys to happiness. But have you ever noticed that the more you chase these things, the more elusive peace becomes? Money doesn't buy peace of mind. Validation from others doesn't bring true contentment. In fact, the more you seek approval from others, the more anxiety you create within yourself, because the peace you're searching for is always out of your control. You're relying on external factors to give you something that should come from within. And when those external things don't satisfy you, it leaves you feeling emptier than before. This is where Stoicism flips the script. True peace comes from within. It's not found in the accolades or the things you accumulate, but in your ability to let go of the need for external validation. The Stoic solution is clear. Peace doesn't come from what you achieve or what others think of you. It comes from letting go of the constant need to prove yourself to others. Once you stop chasing validation, you'll realize that peace was always within your grasp, waiting for you to recognize it. Another key Stoic lesson is the importance of letting go of the past. We all have regrets, we've all made mistakes, and some of those mistakes still haunt us. But the Stoic philosophy teaches that the past does not need to control your present. When we dwell on past mistakes, we rob ourselves of the energy we could be using to focus on the present. Regret, shame, and guilt are powerful emotions, but when you allow them to control you, they drain your peace. The Stoics believed that the only time that truly matters is the present moment. Right now, today. What can you do today to move forward? What can you control today to make your life better? If you're stuck in the past, you'll miss the opportunities that are right in front of you. Finally, one of the greatest pressures we face in life is the expectation of others. Society, family, friends, even colleagues. Everyone seems to have an opinion about how we should live. They tell us what success looks like, what happiness should be, and what our goals should be. But the Stoic approach is simple. Live your own life, not the life others expect of you. Authenticity, in Stoicism, is key. Live in alignment with your own values and desires, not based on what others think you should do. The moment you stop trying to meet others' expectations and start living for yourself, you will experience a freedom and peace you never thought possible. Peace truly comes from within, but in order to create it, we must first make space for it in our lives. The world today is constantly bombarding us with distractions, emails, messages, social media notifications, constant noise. It's easy to feel like we're always on edge, always reacting to the chaos around us, never really having a moment to pause and breathe. But real peace can't be found in the noise. It can only be found in the quiet spaces we create for ourselves. And in a world full of distractions, those spaces are something we must actively cultivate. One of the most powerful ways to start creating peace is to make space for silence. Especially in the morning. Think about the last time you woke up and immediately reached for your phone. The notifications, the emails, the endless stream of information, each one pulling you away from yourself and into the chaos of the day. This constant rush is a surefire way to start the day already feeling overwhelmed. But what if you could start your morning differently? What if, instead of grabbing your phone or checking the news, you woke up with just a few minutes of silence? No notifications, no buzzing, just you and the stillness of the morning. That small act can change everything. It's like pressing the reset button on your mind. You begin the day not as a reaction to the world, but as a deliberate act of presence. You reconnect with yourself, your thoughts, and your intentions for the day ahead. But silence doesn't need to be confined to just the morning. Throughout the day, we can carve out moments of quiet reflection, moments where we stop, breathe, and reconnect with ourselves. Whether it's a few minutes between meetings, a quiet walk during lunch, or simply stepping away from a hectic situation, these moments allow you to pause and recenter. It's in these pauses that peace begins to take root. By making space for silence, we allow ourselves to disconnect from the noise and reconnect with our inner peace. But silence alone is not enough. In order to truly experience peace, we must also declutter our minds. Our minds are full of unnecessary thoughts, fears, worries, regrets, that we carry with us day in and day out. Most of these thoughts aren't even serving us. They're just clutter. So, how do we clean up this mental mess? We start by asking ourselves, what worries are truly important? What can we let go of? Not everything that comes into our minds needs our attention. In fact, a lot of what we worry about never even happens. By identifying what truly matters and what we can release, we begin to lighten our mental load. It's about clearing out the thoughts that weigh us down, creating space for clarity and calm. It's not easy, and it requires practice, but with each small step, we can create a clearer, more peaceful mind. And then, there's the clutter that extends beyond our minds, material excess. The Stoics knew that peace doesn't come from accumulating more things. In fact, it comes from needing less. The more we acquire, the more we have to maintain, organize, and worry about. Our lives become bogged down by stuff, things that distract us from what truly matters. The Stoics understood that the less we need, the more room we have for peace. So, ask yourself, what can you let go of? Whether it's physical items, emotional baggage, or mental clutter, releasing what you don't need opens up space for something much more valuable, peace. The pursuit of peace isn't about adding more to your life. It's about shedding the things that distract you from it. When we stop chasing after more possessions, more validation, more distractions, we create room for the most important thing, inner peace. The more we make space for silence, clear out mental clutter, and let go of unnecessary material possessions, the more peace we make room for in our lives. It's a deliberate, intentional process that requires effort, but the rewards are immeasurable. Peace isn't something you stumble upon. It's something you create, and it begins by making space for it in every corner of your life. We often spend our lives chasing after peace, believing that it lies somewhere out there, hidden in achievements, material possessions, the approval of others, or even in the absence of conflict. We tell ourselves that once we have enough money, once we achieve the perfect career, or once everyone around us finally understands us, then, and only then, will we find peace. But what if I told you that peace is not something to be found? What if I told you that everything you need for peace is already within you? The truth is, peace doesn't come from external sources. It's not something that can be bought or earned. It's not something that you can acquire by chasing after the next big thing or waiting for the world around you to change. Peace comes from within, and the key to finding it lies in shifting your focus. Instead of looking outward, you need to turn your attention inward, to the one thing that you can always control, your mind. For so long, I too searched for peace in the wrong places. I thought that if I could just get ahead in my career or if I could fix every little problem in my life, peace would come naturally. But the harder I tried, the more elusive peace seemed to be. It wasn't until I stopped trying to control everything around me and started focusing on what I could control within myself that I began to experience real peace. The key to unlocking this peace is realizing that you are the one in charge of how you respond to life's challenges. The external world will always be chaotic, unpredictable, and uncontrollable. People will disappoint you, circumstances will not always go your way, and things will never be perfect. But none of that has to disturb your peace unless you let it. When you focus on controlling your thoughts, your reactions, and your emotions, you are already creating the peace you've been seeking. We live in a world that constantly tells us to chase more, to strive harder, to be better, to do more. But the more we chase, the more we lose sight of the peace that's been waiting for us all along. The moment I realized that peace doesn't come from external circumstances, but from within me, was the moment everything shifted. The moment I stopped expecting the world to be perfect and started focusing on what I could control within myself. I began to feel the calm I had been desperately searching for. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that peace is a destination, something you must attain, but in reality, peace is a process. It's not something you achieve once and for all. It's something you create and nurture every day. By focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, your responses, your attitude, you begin to build a solid foundation for peace. It's not about waiting for everything around you to change. It's about changing how you respond to everything that comes your way. I know from personal experience that it's not always easy to maintain this focus. Life has a way of throwing curveballs that challenge your sense of calm. But the more you practice, the easier it becomes. The more you create peace within yourself, the less you rely on external circumstances to determine your happiness. You start to realize that no matter what happens in the world around you, you always have the power to choose how you react. And in that choice, you find your peace. It's there, within you, all along, waiting for you to stop searching for it elsewhere and start creating it inside. Let's take a moment to recap everything we've discussed. True peace doesn't come from outside forces, from material possessions, or from external validation. It doesn't come from waiting for the world to align perfectly. True peace comes from within, and it starts with controlling your mind. Once you understand this, everything changes. The chaos that once ruled your thoughts, your emotions, and your reactions begins to lose its power. Peace becomes less about managing external circumstances and more about mastering your response to them. We've all heard the noise, the constant distractions that demand our attention, that try to pull us away from what really matters. But peace doesn't thrive in the noise. It thrives in silence. And silence, in this context, isn't just about the absence of sound. It's about creating mental clarity, making space for yourself, and letting go of the unnecessary. By focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, and your responses, you reclaim your peace. This is the core of Stoic philosophy, and it is more than just a concept. It's a practice. A practice that, when applied daily, brings real, lasting change. And here's the kicker. You don't need to wait for some perfect moment to start. You can begin right now. Today, right in this moment. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what can I control right now? You don't need to wait for the chaos to settle. You don't need to wait for a better time. There's no better time than now to start applying these Stoic principles to your life. Stop giving away your peace to things that you can't control. Stop letting external circumstances dictate your inner calm. Take responsibility for your own peace and start building it from the inside out. And here's where I want to hear from you. I know that many of you watching this have your own experiences with peace, with distractions, with the ups and downs of life. What have you struggled with when it comes to controlling your mind? How have you applied these principles to your own life? And what changes have you noticed? I encourage you to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your story might just be the thing that helps someone else take that first step toward reclaiming their peace. Finally, if you found this message helpful, I invite you to subscribe to this channel and join me on this journey of self-discovery and personal growth. We'll continue to explore the wisdom of Stoic philosophy together, uncovering more tools to help us live with intention, clarity, and peace, because when we understand the power of controlling our minds, there's no limit to the peace and growth we can achieve. Let's keep moving forward together. Subscribe now, and let's continue exploring how Stoic principles can transform our lives.